Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today's topic is that how to identify next big investment trend. So I'm going to share some tips that will help you to spot trend and ensure that you pick the right trend and it does not cost you much. So first of all, let me be very honest. This is I'm not giving you the next stock idea. I'm giving you the skill to spot real trend early on and to avoid the fake ones. Most people miss trend because they ignore it for years and then they buy it. They ignore it like for 3 years and then one day everyone is talking about it. Then they buy at the top and then they blame the market. It really does not work that way. All it happens that they buy too early and then they don't have that requisite patience. They quit in frustration, and here where they give up all the upside. They follow tips. They don't understand what they own, but they follow tip, and based on these tips, they will buy it with just relying on somebody else. Because of all these factors, their investment decision does not yield them a lot of money. I'm going to share a simple model to spot trends early on that will help you to be confident in your decision making. But trends are stories unfolding over time. This picture अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. If you enter without understanding the plot, you become an exit liquidity. You will have to totally understand what is the plot, how things are moving, who is at the winning position, and all these factors once taken into consideration, you will understand which way the trend is going. Because you cannot enter into movie in last 10 minutes and complain that you don't understand the story. That's the same thing with market. If you enter late and then you say you didn't get a lot of upset or you made losses, this is what you are doing. So simple trend, a simple framework so that you can spot trend early on. And at the same time, you don't become an hype chaser. So don't chase trend. Important is to understand those trends and participate in those trends. So first understand what is the distinction between trend and a fade. A trend is a long-term change that creates new winners and losers, and it endures for a lot of years. Fade is very short-term excitement without real change, and it fizzles out very quickly. So if it can't last for years, then definitely it is not trend, it's just a noise. So ignore this because a trend if usually survives for 5 to 10 years, whereas noise is very temporary. One day you hear this, one day you hear other thing. So first parameter of identifying trend that it's going to be a long-term trend. And why people lose money in trend? People lose money in trend because they hear big word. Oh, this is the next big thing that is coming. They feel confused or they get too excited just by hearing this one. And then they get in the FOMO zone. Or they connect noise with trend, which is not correct. They skip fundamental, they skip risk, and they just buy it because everybody's buying it. And they panic when it becomes very volatile. So the trend investing without any proper framework also becomes gambling. So avoid chasing trend where you don't understand the entire background or all the dynamics which are impacting this trend. So I'm going to use a mental model for you to explain how to identify this trend early on and how to spot them. The first mental model is a three-leg tool. A trend becomes real only when it has three legs and that all of those legs are very strong. First, it's a technology driven. Is it possible now? Whether that technology can be implemented now and whether it is profitable to have that technology in place today. Then second is economics. Is it better or cheaper now? And third is rules and regulation. Is it allowed Is it trusted? When all of these three work in same direction, a trend becomes an investable trend. You can say all the three legs of the stool are strong enough for anybody to sit on the stool. That is when the trend becomes investable. If one of the leg is weak, the stool falls, and it definitely does not make sense to participate in such trend. Now let's understand why this model works. Because why this model works, the three-leg model works, because if tech exists but it's too expensive, then the economics are not in place. So it will not work. If economics work, but the rules are unclear, there are no clear guidelines by government or industry practices, then it would lead to a zone where a lot of malpractices are ongoing. And weak regulation does not support profitability and does not support that it would last long. If the rule exists but the trust is missing, again, this model will not. And most hot ideas fall in one of these three categories. Next time you get some hot ideas, don't debate hype. Check the legs that this two parameter, whether all these parameters are putting in, whether there is correct technology, investable technology, whether the economics are in place, and whether there are rules and regulation where this is permissible and allowed. Because if there is a tech without economics, it becomes a science project. If there is a tech without rules, it becomes a casino. If there's a tech without trust, it's a WhatsApp forward. So all three parameters needs to be in place because at any point in time, if the tech is too expensive or economics are not working or no customers does not trust it, the trend stays stuck. It just creates hype, but it does not become an investable avenue. So let's understand metal model 2, which is the S curve, and this helps us to identify the trend. The real trend spreads like an S curve, which means early there are small, confusing, risky investors or customers. And then as the trend progresses, somewhere in the middle, they observe fast adoption of that product. And later on, the growth slows down and winners are clear. Most retail investors enter at the worst time. They either enter very late in the phase or they enter too early, which is in phase two. You want to be in this game when the momentum picks up. When the phase one starts turning into phase two and you get to participate in all the upside. You don't need to participate on day one or the first day, but you need to participate at last time so you are able to derive maximum benefit out of it. You should identify the buy signals, correct buy signals, otherwise it would become a warning signal. Now, I'm going to share how to apply this model, some of the examples, and definitely these are not the stock tips, but these are the trend picking ideas and options. So let's use the trend most people can relate to. Now here the trend that we are talking about is EV adoption in India. As a trend example, definitely not a stock tip. So how is this working out? Okay, sorry. So EV, yes, definitely we'll talk about EV and then I will come to this real world assets also. So first, speaking about EV, now the EV, let's check whether these three tools are in place, whether the tech, economics, and rules are in place for EV. So first on tech, batteries are improving. The charging ecosystem is growing. So definitely tech is in place. When it comes to economics, it's upfront. The cost is upfront costs are slowing down. The running costs are really attractive, and the scale is improving. So yes, the economics are in place. It comes to rule, there are policies in support of EV. Automobile companies have adopted. There are subsidies. There are safety standards. There's a there's a resale value for this EV. The trust is still evolving, but a lot of other factors are in place. So we can say for EV, it's still like moving from early to middle in many segments. The adoption is real, but it's still uneven. So don't bet it like it's a guaranteed tomorrow, but the trend is because the trend moves in phases and it's worth evaluating this trend and observing this trend. And the second trend we are going to talk about is tokenization of real world assets. So here, what does it mean? It means that turning the ownership of real assets, just fund, bond, or you can hub into a tokenized product, so you can participate into it, and it's a regulated thing. It becomes transfer, settlement, distribution. It becomes easier. So here, see the whether the technology first. Where faster settlement is possible, yes. It's programmable, yes. There are better infrastructure around it, yes. The second is economics. Is it at a less friction? Correct. Is easier to distribution? Yes. Or whether the potential costs are lower and product may become simpler to access is also very. So when you're coming to verify the economics parameter, ask, is it meaningfully better than today's existing system? If yes, then this would become a next big trend. Third is to check on rules and regulation, whether they are make or break. That there is a clarity which is available, which will help people to drive trust, and the compliance decides adoption. And without rule, it just becomes casino vibe. So ensure that there are adequate rule in place. If the regulation is unclear, treat it as a speculation. Now let's understand why do people get trapped in the trend. One of the major reason that people get trapped in in the trend, and they're not able to distinguish between trend and faith, is because they confuse infrastructure trend with pumpable asset trend. They ignore regulation, they ignore custody, they ignore fraud risk. They bet on the loudest name, the name which is spoken loudest. They don't know who earns money consistently. And all of this makes it difficult for the industry or the segment or particular stock to generate profit, and the trend does not turn into instant profit. So let's understand another pickaxes versus gold. This was another very exciting trend, and here we are trying to understand how smart investor can avoid guessing on one winner and pick up a segment that is going to help them generate a lot of money. In this pickaxes versus gold. So it's a trend investing. Here, what happened? The smartest move is not often the final shiny product. Because in early 90s, when there was gold rush, all people went behind finding gold. There were a lot of mines being opened up. There were a lot of mining companies who invested a lot of amount. But the real people who made money were the people who were selling pickaxes, which was one of the tool used for mining. And this enables that benefit would even with the benefit lies with the suppliers of suppliers of product that becomes consumable in that trend. And here, what happened? Even if that one brand fails, the trend can still grow. The pickaxes can kept continuing selling, even though there was no specific brand in place. No, here it's not necessary that you pick one big hero. And it is like instead of betting on the hero of the movie, invest in theater that sells popcorn. Because people will come to watch movie of any hero and they will buy popcorn. The selling of popcorn will generate theater owner a lot of profit, and so will the theater stock generate higher rate. So this is one of the scenario of pickaxes versus book. And what are this usually the pickaxes? They could be an infrastructure, platform, big compliance companies, distribution channel, or any enabler that will help end industry to survive and thrive in the competitive one. So here I'm going to share 5 questions that you need to ask and understand before getting into any trend. First is, what problem does it solve? Is it able to answer that problem in one line? Which leg is strongest today, whether it is tech, economics, or rule? Where is it on ESCOM, whether it is early, middle, or late? Who makes money even if growth slows down? Because what can kill, whether it can kill a new regulation or the cost, competition, or the trust issue, what can kill this trend? If you can't answer it, don't invest in this trend. So here I'm going to give you a simple weekly habit. You can do this once a week. Can find a two credible source on one thing. Score on three legs, whether it is tech, economics, and rule. Map it to the value chain, whether it is pickaxes, platform, or a product. Do this for 8 weeks and you will be sharper than most headline chasers. That's how you can build a habit around identifying trend early on and participate in those trends at the right time. Picture अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त because next big trend is forming quietly as you listen to this video. Participate in it before it becomes loud. Use this framework and check each of this parameter before you put your hard-earned money into this new trend. Because that next trend is here to help you become richer and help you to enjoy your money. So let me know in the comment section below what are your key learning from this video and what was your bulb on moment. I read each comment. Till next time, I come with another video. Keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.